Good afternoon. On behalf of the Mayor and the Police Commissioner, I welcome you to your official swearing-in ceremony. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce members of our dais that are assembled with us this afternoon. I would ask that you please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Seated on my right and in the first row, the Commanding Officer of the Police Academy, Deputy Chief Teresa Shortell, Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce, Chief of Patrol James O'Neill, Chief of Department Philip Banks III, the Police Commissioner of the City of New York, the Honorable William J. Bratton, the Mayor of the City of New York, the Honorable Bill de Blasio, First Deputy Police Commissioner Rafael Pinero, Deputy Commissioner for Training Ben Tucker, Deputy Commissioner Intelligence Counterterrorism John Miller, representing the Police Athletic League Ms. Ricky Kleeman, President of Patrolmen's Benevolent Association Patrick Lynch, President of the Captain's Endowment Association Roy Richter, Assistant Commissioner Education and Research Dr. Robert Gonzalez. Seated in our second row, the Commanding Officer, Recruit Training Section Inspector Samuel Wright, the Commanding Officer, Applicant Processes Division Inspector Eric Rodriguez, Supervising Chief Surgeon Dr. Eli Kleiman, and the Commanding Officer of the Medical Division Inspector Brian McGinn. Officers, this is our day, we thank them for being here. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce the Mayor of the City of New York, the Honorable Bill de Blasio.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I have a number of important responsibilities today, but one I always do is to thank our Master of Ceremonies. Let's give a round of applause to Lieutenant Giorgio for running a wonderful ceremony. It's a very special pleasure to join you as you start out on this journey. This is a noble calling you have chosen. It really is. And this begins a path where you have an opportunity to do so much good for so many people. For me, looking around the room, I see not only the future of the NYPD, I see the future of New York City. And so for me, it's a moment it's really special to share with you because I know what it means for all our people. Now, we are blessed to have the finest police force anywhere in this country, anywhere in this world. You're joining an organization that no one has to wonder about its ranking or its meaning. It's well established. And part of the excellence of this institution comes from its leadership. We are blessed in New York City to have the finest police leader anywhere in this world in Commissioner Bratton. Let's thank him for what he does. And I want to thank First Deputy Commissioner Rafael Pinero and Chief of Department Phil Banks, all the other chiefs and all the other leaders of the NYPD here for all they do for us. Wherever I go, I celebrate the important role that our labor unions play working with the city to make life better for all of us. You are well represented by the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, and the President is here. And Pat, I believe you have a special interest in this ceremony today, as one of your sons is in this class. So congratulations to you. And I'm sure a number of you are able and will rise through the ranks, and someday you'll be able to be represented by the Captain's Endowment Association. Roy Richter is here. Roy, thank you for your leadership. This is an amazing class. Just even at the starting point, you represent New York City at its finest. It's an incredibly diverse class. You hail from 56 different countries. 167 members of this class born outside the United States. Amongst you, there are 44 different languages that are spoken and available to help serve the people of the city. That includes languages that maybe are not the most typical, but they're still New Yorkers who speak, and it's a great value that you bring them to us, including Dari and Kazakh and Macedonian. So we've got it all here in this class. 28 of you moved to New York City specifically to fulfill your dream of joining the NYPD. It mattered that much to you. 101 of you, 101 are doing something that to me is particularly special and we all honor. You've already served your nation in our armed forces. Now you'll serve this city in the NYPD, and we want to say a special thank you to all of them. Let's give them a round of applause. And the NYPD attracts the finest, including from our military. I want to say a special commendation to one of you, Matthew Caulfield, a decorated Special Forces officer, now on his way to the NYPD. Thank you, Matthew, for what you've done for this country. So I want to thank you for being committed to serving your fellow New Yorker. It's a big choice you make. And the 6 months ahead, I think everyone already knows, they will not be easy. They'll be grueling, physically, intellectually. You're going to be put through a lot. You have to learn a lot fast. You have to prove yourself time and again. And it takes hard work during the day. It takes late nights of studying and preparation. And we all know it's necessary, and we all know it's worth it, because the job thereafter involves every conceivable scenario. One thing we can always predict in New York City is the unpredictable. And you have to be ready to handle it, whatever it is. And that's why the training has to be as strong and rigorous as it is. Now, what Chief Bratton, I gave you a momentary title change. Commissioner Bratton has achieved already in this department, working to deepen the success that he started in his first tour of duty in NYPD, is to strengthen the relationship between the NYPD and all of its members and the communities we serve. And you'll see that in the training regimen at the Academy. You'll see that there's an emphasis on the whole range of skills you need to be effective police officers, and there'll also be an emphasis on how to forge real, practical, working relationships with community members. So they become your allies. They become people who share information you need so you can do your job most effectively, so you can get to the bad guys quickly. That partnership is going to be so crucial to your success, and at the Academy, you'll get a strong sense of how to make it work. And you'll also benefit from a new approach the commissioners put in place, which is the notion of after the training, when you go out into the streets of the city, when you go out into communities that particularly need your help, you're not going out alone, you're going out with officers and seasoned officers and leaders who are going to help you as you hit the ground to best do your job, to understand what works and how to connect with the community and how to learn from each experience. There's a really strong understanding of the kind of mentorship you need to be as effective as possible, as quickly as possible. That is the approach the NYPD is taking. It's already yielding results literally as we speak. The class that's just graduated, it's going to yield results for you as well. And it's deepening. It's deepening the success of this fantastic institution. You know, part of what makes an institution or an organization great is the ability to constantly innovate, to never rest on the laurels. When Commissioner Bratton was first commissioner of NYPD, he brought us ComStat, revolutionized our approach, made policing so much more effective. But one thing I can tell you, after hundreds of conversations with this man, I've never seen him rest on his laurels once. He's constantly talking to experts and police leaders around the country and everyday cops, trying to figure out what we can do better every single day. That's why the Academy keeps evolving. That's why we're going to want to see every one of you continue to evolve in your time at NYPD, always striving to learn and innovate and bring great ideas forward. And that's why this organization is so extraordinary. It's the finest in the world, and it will always be the finest if we continue that commitment to innovation. You are signing up for literally one of the toughest jobs there is. It's tough anywhere to be a police officer. I think we can safely say this is one of the toughest venues. because of so much happening here, because of this extraordinary mix of people, because of the 24-hour life in New York City, because the unpredictable always happens here. And we know that you are willing to put your lives on the line, and that is something I have to say. 8.4 million New Yorkers depend on you, and I hope you understand how many of them appreciate and realize that you're willing to do something that the average citizen doesn't necessarily have in them to do. But you do. You're willing to make so much of a difference that you'll even put your life and safety on the line. And that is something we honor. And you're going to be part of some very, very rich traditions, because NYPD has achieved all it's achieved with a real reverence for each and every member over the years and what it means to serve here. And you're going to see, as in today's class, generation upon generation that joins NYPD and continues the tradition. So many of you have had family members who are on the job, mothers, and fathers, and aunts, and uncles, and grandparents. So many people who established that tradition that you now follow in the footsteps of. A couple of examples in this class, including the brothers, James and Joseph Essig, sons of Deputy Chief James Essig, carrying on the family tradition times 2. That's something we appreciate. I want to commend John Capano of this class, son of Special Agent John Capano of the ATF, who lost his life in the line of duty, trying to stop a robbery in a drugstore, gave his life to save others, and now his son continues that tradition. Let's thank these members of this class for continuing that tradition. Now, I'll be brief, but I just want to say a couple more things. You're joining this department at a critical time. Over 2 decades, so many people in this city worked so hard to make this the safest big city in America. Becoming the safest big city in America, it did not happen overnight. It did not happen through just one effort. It happened through the effort of thousands and consistently. But I just want to give you one statistic that I hope puts in perspective. In the year 1990, recent memory, there were 2,245 murders in New York City. Last year, there were 334. That's a breathtaking level of progress. You're joining an organization that achieved that. Something people said literally couldn't be done, but people stayed with it every single day. And now that we've achieved that status, we have to hold on to it and deepen it. And we know that there's always challenges. We never take lightly a single shooting or a single robbery. We know our commitment is every day to address each and every crime. So you're joining at a point where we've achieved a lot, but now comes the hard work of deepening and consolidating those gains. And that's where you come in, and that's where we need you. And you know, we've had a challenge in recent months. We've had a rash of shootings in some of our neighborhoods, particularly around public housing. And you're going to be part of the solution. But in the meantime, we're doing a number of other things that we announced yesterday. Over $200 million in investments in some of the most troubled public housing developments. To do some of the other things that help police do their jobs, like better lighting, so the bad guys don't have a place to hide and law-abiding citizens feel safe and police can see the situation better even in the dead of night. More programs for young people to give them constructive alternatives, keep them away from bad influences and gangs and crews and give them positive alternatives. All of these investments are being made for each and every community in need, but it's also to support the work that you'll be doing. Because great police work requires also the support on so many other fronts that our city government has to provide. And I have to tell you, before I administer the oath, which is a tremendous honor to do, I have to tell you that in recent weeks as I've gone around the city, talked to community residents in all sorts of neighborhoods about their relationship with NYPD, I need you to know how many people are grateful, how many people know you are the solution, how many people know that you're there for them through thick and thin. You're going to go out after 6 tough months You're going to have good days and bad days like all of us, tough moments, challenges, but you're also going to have a lot of moments where people say thank you because they know you're there for them and you're there to protect them in a way no one else can. And to have that opportunity is truly a blessing. So with that, it's my honor to administer the oath of office to you. Please stand and raise your right hands.
Ready, move!
All right, repeat after me. I do hereby pledge and declare to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer in the Police Department of the City of New York to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations. Well done, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Congratulations, officers. It's indeed my pleasure to introduce the Police Commissioner of the City of New York, the Honorable William J. Bratton.
Good afternoon. Mr. Mayor, thank you for your comments, your introduction, and thank you for your support. During these 6 months that I've had the opportunity to work with the mayor, I have found him to be totally supportive of the mission of the New York City Police Department, and to, before making a decision, to learn as much as he can about why decisions are being made, how they're being developed, and why we are doing what we do. He is open to learning. He is open to directing in a way in which leadership is essential rather than direction and control. And myself, speaking on behalf of myself and the leadership team of the department, we're very appreciative of the way that you've been responding to the needs of this department over these last 6 months. And we look forward certainly to working with you. Now to you young men and women that take a good look at the group on this stage. Almost all of them, the uniformed members of this department, in fact, every one of them, as they looked out on you, I'm sure were sharing the same thought that I had, remembering back, in my case, 44 years ago, to when I first took the oath of office as a Boston police officer. Every one of them here, I'm sure, was thinking back 20, 30 years ago to when they began their police careers as you were beginning yours today. And as you look at them, use them as your role models. The idea that one of the great things about this profession is that we all begin where you began today, taking that oath of office, that you don't get up onto this stage without first starting the first rung of the ladder is what you just did. And I would anticipate that in 15, 20, 25 years, a number of you will in fact be on this stage because we promote from within. And I would say to you that would be a goal to aspire to, a goal to lead this organization. In these ensuing years, you'll be working with it, you'll be supervising, you'll be managing, but some of you may in fact, at some point in time, lead the organization. I love policing, love every minute of it. There's no profession in the world in which you can, as an officer or as a leader, every day make decisions that will have so much positive or negative impact on the lives of so many. You are joining an extraordinarily proud department, the New York City Police Department, the largest in this country, one of the largest in the world, and arguably the best. You are exceptional young men and women. For each of you sitting here, there are many others who would want to be here, but they could not intellectually, physically, emotionally meet the high standards of this organization which you have met. You are a very mature group, on average age, 26 years of age. I think that's a positive for us because you are, in fact, men and women You are, in fact, people who have had life experiences that will help you in dealing with the many new experiences that you will face on the streets of New York City. We are going to endeavor to give you the best training possible in these 6 months. I ask you, I implore you to work hard, to absorb it, to understand it. And I also ask you to work together. This is not an individual accomplishment to get to graduation 6 months from now. It needs to be a group effort, to work together, to study together. If you see somebody lagging behind, whether it's on the PT field or academically, work with each other, because that's what the nature of this organization is about. We are a collaborative organization. And to the military veterans, the 101 of you who have had the experience of working in an organization, in your case, a military organization, and ours a paramilitary, I ask you to go the extra mile to impart the benefit of your experiences, many of you with overseas experiences, to work with those others in your class to give them the benefit of your advice. In our democracy, the first obligation of government is public safety. It's spoken to in our Declaration of Independence, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights. You are the front line of that promise. It begins with you. You are the most visible component of that promise. In this city, particularly over the last 20 years, we have kept the promise. 8.5 million New Yorkers, 56 million visitors, and every day 3 million outsiders enjoy this city, and they enjoy the safety of this city. They enjoy being free of fear and disorder and crime. There are still areas in the city that don't have that as their daily experience, and that's where you count. Cops count, police matter. You as individual cops assigned to a beat, assigned to a sector car, assigned to a precinct, you have the ability every day when you get out into those streets to make a difference in the lives of every New Yorker, but particularly in those areas of the city that yet still do not benefit from the safety that the overall city feels. We will need you 6 months from now. They will be long, arduous months of intensive education and training. But it needs to be that way, because when you go out into those streets, we need you to be prepared to go out into those streets. We're also going to work very hard with you when you get into those streets to continue that training, to continue that monitoring, continue that mentoring. The class that just graduated are embarking on a new initiative in which we're attempting to give them closer supervision, closer partnering with many more seasoned officers. And I thank the unions that are represented on the stage here for their support and cooperation in encouraging their members to work with that class as they've gone out into the street. We hope the learning experience of that initiative will benefit you as we modify it and change it and strengthen it, so that when you graduate with the basic skills, that we work with you in this first 6 months that you're on the street, that you acquire the necessary on-the-job skills that will protect you and your partner, but will continue to protect every member of this city, every member of our society. Sir Robert Peel, the great British police leader and Home Secretary and ultimately Prime Minister, had 9 principles of policing, which you will learn about. The first of those is very simple. It is the mission for which police exist. The basic mission for the police is to prevent crime, fear, and disorder. To prevent, and that's what you will help to do. You have chosen an extraordinary profession. I compliment you on that. I love it. Continue to love it, and that's why I came back to it. And I'm going to enjoy working with you. As you go forward, there will be certain expectations that I will have of you. Number one, that you police constitutionally. You cannot break the law to enforce the law. That you police with integrity. We have screened you carefully to ensure that you have all the necessary attributes to be a successful police officer. And that means the ability to police constitutionally, to acquire the skills, to understand the law so you can enforce it fairly and impartially. We want you to enforce with integrity. We want you to police with skills. We want you to police with compassion. We want you to police respectfully. And we want you to police in a way in which you are successful, because your success ultimately leads to the overall success of this city. I congratulate you, as the mayor did, on your choice of profession. You could not have chosen a better one, and we will do everything in our power to ensure that you have a successful career in the NYPD, so that at the end of your time, that you'll be able to look back on your career and say, I had a life of significance. I had a life that mattered. I was a cop, and I counted. I was a member of the police profession, and we mattered. Thank you.
And thank you, Commissioner Bratton. Officers, this concludes your official swearing-in ceremony. On behalf of the mayor and the police commissioner and all the executive staff members on the stage, we all wish you a successful career. Thank you.